Hello, it's me. So, I woke up this morning, Monday, and I thought to myself, what's in the news today? And stories of Prince Andrew and the usual suspects. Tony Blair came up in a couple of YouTube videos, nothing unusual there. But it led me to look at a particular aspect of his endeavours, and that is the Tony Blair Foundation. And one of the videos was, "Is Tony Blair evil?" So, rather idly, I typed into YouTube, "Is Tony Blair evil?" And it came up with the same videos that anyone is going to be able to access. Oh, goodness. Look at that picture. So, I've long held the view that Tony Blair was an intelligence asset. I don't have any proof of this, by the way. And everything that I'm about to say is obviously allegedly, but, again, speculation, but here we go. So, Tony Blair was an intelligence asset. And that his wife, Cherry Blair, was his handler. That strange just seems strange. Cherry Blair always struck me as being strange and a little bit not quite with it. And I remember when I first started to develop this thought, I thought she plays that part beautifully. The rather distant and aimless wife of a dynamic, forever smiling, young Prime Minister, as he then was. And I saw a movie, I think, with Ewan McGregor and Pierce Brosnan. I think it was called The Writer, which, although it doesn't say so explicitly, again, I'm kind of remembering this. It's like 20 years since I saw the movie or something like that. It was a long time ago. I think this explores that. It's not very veiled, but, Pierce Brosnan being the Tony Blair character, and Ewan McGregor being a writer, investigative reporter kind of thing. Watch it. Good movie. Well, I thought it was good at the time anyway. And so as I was watching old news articles on my TV, which is just past the kit that I'm using here, I'm scrolling through stuff here on YouTube as I'm watching articles on the TV. And as I'm scrolling, I start seeing articles from 9 years ago. The Iraq War, Tony Blair, Chilcot Report. 15 years ago, The Late Show, Tony Blair. Jeremy Corbyn on Tony Blair, war crimes 10 years ago. Tony Blair, the Jewish settlements in Palestinian territories from 14 years ago. And the repository of everything that we need to know is right there. It's amazing how in the modern world, with all this information at our fingertips, people just don't look. People don't care. They're just trying to get on with their lives. And that brings us on to the other side of this equation, the assault on the ordinary individual. And you would think, why? Why do governments want to do this? It's just ridiculous that a government would want to attack en masse using various socio-economic policies. It doesn't make sense. It's just the markets doing their thing. But in actual fact, there is a reason. We, the general public, in our ordinariness and our anonymity, we all hold a vote. We can vote. Democracy at work. But what we have now, it kind of, for me, is a suspension of democracy. Everything that the Starmer government is doing appears to be undemocratic, certainly not in the interests of the citizenry. They dress it up in all kinds of noble words, but it's just a power grab, isn't it? And what Tony Blair seems to have started, wearing the mask of the left. Because I never realised at the time, but the left was being subverted under Tony Blair. I started off watching him, and I think I've said this before in the video, I had great hope. And then it all kind of started to fall apart a bit, really. And now we've got what, for me, is the culmination of whatever the plan was. Puppet prime ministers, one after the other, be they blue or red, all biding time, all marching to the beat of somebody else's drum. The question is who? What I will say is, if you look through enough of these articles, something keeps recurring. Something keeps coming up. And you have to ask yourself, really? And I'm not going to say it here because it's just too much trouble, frankly. And again, I don't know if I'm right. But as a normal person who has all this information at their fingertips, and you look and you do some research, and don't be fooled, research isn't some grand enterprise. It may turn into a grand enterprise, but it's just looking. So do some looking. Make your own mind up. See how you feel. Democracy, eh? It's a fucking shit show of a fight, but I think it's worth it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share if you'd like to. Until next time, this is me signing off. Do look after yourselves.